Dana White has officially announced International Fight Week's main event of Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira for the undisputed lightweight title. We did it, guys. Alright, so Dana, I'm not going to go through his video. I'm just going to go through the post that the UFC account made. So Ilia Topuria is getting his title shot against Charles Oliveira. This was essentially confirmed, about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. It got rumored, got confirmed by Ilia multiple times up until then, got confirmed by Dana at the press conference for 315, and officially was announced today. But this time for the undisputed belt. Now, when it was first reported, it was reported to be for an undisputed belt. But then, after Islam said, no matter what happens in 315, I will not vacate. He tweeted that. He clearly did. And people were saying he vacated on his own accord. People were saying that the UFC made him vacate. I'm not sure. My guess is that he's vacating. If he loses to Jack, he moves back down and gets an immediate title shot against, whoever the lightweight champion is. Whether it's Ilia, Charles, or Arman gets a shot, we'll never know. Until then, obviously. But this is the fight that needed to be made, and now it's for an undisputed championship. So we are either going to get an Ilia Topuria double champion title reign at lightweight, or we're going to get Charles Oliveira redeeming himself and becoming a two-time lightweight champion and cementing his legacy as one of the greatest lightweights of all time. If he beats Topuria, gets one more win, ignore that, gets one more win, maybe beats Arman, lightweight GOAT, since Islam moved up. So Topuria posted this on his Instagram. I'll actually click on that and go to it. Let's read the caption here. On June 28, another dream will come true. I'll be the champion of the lightweight division. Charles, my apologies in advance. I'm just fighting for my dreams. It's unfortunate that Makhachev ran away. 17-0. Rose. Tough as shit. Alright? Tough as shit. He needs to change his, he needs to change this here. And ignore this. Also ignore that. Let's go back to the search. Let's go back to the UFC Instagram account. So, but yeah. Islam is gone up at 170. It's official that he is going to fight Jack Della Maddalena at some point later this year. And with another announcement, it makes me think that it's going to be in Abu Dhabi, unfortunately, even though JDM is the champ. But I get it. It's whatever. But now I'm really curious because let's go to the other announcement. Dricus du Plessis versus KHAMZAT Chimaev is official for Chicago in mid-August, UFC 319. This is going to be an unbelievable fight. It's a perfect stylistic matchup. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome to watch. And I've got Dricus. I'm going to pick Dricus. I've got him winning this fight. I trust his takedown defense. And I trust that he's going to survive. Remember what we were talking about leading into the Whittaker fight? All Whittaker has to do is survive the first 2 rounds. And the reason he didn't is because his teeth completely crumbled in when KHAMZAT choked him, because KHAMZAT's grip strength is that strong, and Whittaker had 3 bottom teeth. So, he didn't survive the first round. Du Plessis, I think, will survive the first round. I'm not going to all of a sudden switch my stance on KHAMZAT off of what he did to Whittaker by saying, oh, well, KHAMZAT, I trust his wrestling, to where I think he can maul him. Round 3 TKO. No. This is going to be the same as any other KHAMZAT fight in terms of high-level middleweight KHAMZAT fights. He needs to finish you in the first round or 2. If he does not finish Dricus in the first 2 rounds, I've got Dricus easily winning it. KHAMZAT might lay on him for 3 minutes and go for submissions and not get anything. I trust Dricus in his positions, defending his back, his anti-grappling. And I think he's so awkward, it's going to make KHAMZAT a little bit confused on when to shoot and timing his takedowns. And I think Dricus is going to be really strong And I think he's going to be as strong as Khamzat. And Khamzat's going to be like, this is the biggest, strongest dude I've fought. I don't, we'll see how it goes. So I really do think that Du Plessis will get this one done. Khamzat could absolutely win. He could absolutely get a first-round finish and cement himself as the greatest talent in UFC history. But he has to go do it. And I trust Dricus to go win. I do. Let's go back and let's break down this Ilya fight. So, International Fight Week. Finally, this is the fight we needed. Now, if I'm going to be honest, guys, Ilya Topuria is going to sleep him. It's a very interesting stylistic matchup. And Charles absolutely has every chance to win. He's Charles Oliveira. Like, I'm not going to completely downgrade him just because he's fighting Ilya. I have a Charles Oliveira poster in the back of my room that you can't see. I really hope, for Charles that it's a good fight, then he puts up a true fight, and potentially his last title shot. And potentially his last title fight. And Ilya Topuria, I just feel really confident in his ability to land one on you. I was gonna pick Ilya against Islam. I feel like his ability to land a punch on you is what's going to end it, no matter what. And with Islam, I think that this was the right time to make the fight. And I think that if they did make the fight, I think the timing would work out in favor of Ilya, especially because we know that Islam didn't really want to fight at International Fight Week. And we also know that Islam didn't really want to, stay at lightweight and fight Ilya. And coming off the January card, that's usually a quicker turnaround right after Ramadan too for Islam. Obviously, I'm just, these are little factors, okay? I'm not going to, these aren't excuses for Islam to make, and these aren't a reason that he should lose. But I'm just throwing in little bits of factors. I think in terms of timing and momentum, I think Ilya's got all of it right now, and I think that if he matches up with anybody at 155 and 145, I think he beats them. Charles Oliveira, I could see him trying to submit Charles Oliveira and trying to do something different. But I could also see him going on to KO his third fan favorite in a row and become the true villain of the UFC, and I think that's what's going to happen. Now, if we're actually talking about their styles, Oliveira stands way too close to his opponents, and usually he's able to have success from it, because when he's fighting a Gaethje, Gaethje's going to throw these wild shots, and when you're at these shorter distances, Gaethje's not really going to be as effective, because he wants to land a big hook on you. Well, Oliveira likes to catch you underneath and get you with an uppercut or gets you with a straight right, quicker shot. That's why he likes to stand in closer. And he gets in brawls. In certain fights, that works out for him. In certain fights, it works out like the Islam fight where he gets dropped and immediately submitted. It can work out, the Arman fight. Arman just used his offensive grappling to get the win and was pretty even in the striking and good at defending himself. Topuria is not going to get caught by Oliveira. Oliveira catches guys who are defensively poor, if we're being brutally honest. I mean, if you think in recent history about the people Charles Oliveira has caught, Beneil Dariush, who's gotten rocked in a lot of his fights, let's be honest. Beneil Dariush is a great fighter, and that was an amazing win from Charles, the head kick. He's not going to land a head kick on Ilya Topuria. Ilya's too small, and his boxing heavy stance, he's going to be so low to the ground that those head kicks aren't going to be effective enough, because when he fires one, Ilya's going to fire across with the right hand, and it's going to hurt the shit out of Charles Oliveira. His kicks are going to be ineffective besides a low kick. Charles has got to keep his range, and he's got to be fast, and he's going to have to get in, he's going to have to use his grappling. In my personal opinion, I think Charles' best chance to win this fight is in the grappling. I don't see him KOing Topuria. I don't see him catching Topuria coming in. Topuria can get a little over offensive, but he only does it when it's in a finishing moment. And Charles, now of course he's changed, but who am I going to trust more in a finishing moment when they are hurt against the cage? Will I trust Charles Oliveira or will I trust Ilia Topuria? Charles has been there and done that, but he's also been there and given up. Topuria hasn't lost a fight. He doesn't know how to lose yet. And I don't think this fight goes on to a decision. I don't think this fight is on the ground for too long. I don't think Charles's offensive grappling is good enough to take down and hold down Ilia Topuria. The hardest thing will be taking him down, because Ilia is really small, strong, stocky, and that's a really good build to defend takedowns. And when Charles is going for these takedowns, he's going to have to implement it through trips and sweeps and BJJ or judo techniques rather than just classic wrestling, because Ilia is just going to completely stuff any sort of single or double leg that Charles has to offer. With all that being said, I really do think Ilia Topuria KOs him. I could see it being really early. Unfortunately, it depends on the mindset Charles goes out there with. Does Charles go in with the mindset he had against Dustin Poirier? Or does he go out there, or, Justin Gaethje, or does he go out there and have the mindset that he does with Michael Chandler, where he tries to, ride the fight a little bit longer? So I'm interested to see what Charles we get, because we haven't seen this overly aggressive version of Charles since probably the Dariush fight, and that was in June 2023. And then since then, we've had the Arman and the Chandler fight. That's all. And both those fights were he was a little more tentative. So I'm interested to see what Charles Oliveira we get now that the age is getting up there as well, and what Ilia Topuria is going to look like up a weight class. So this is going to be a fantastic fight. I love both these guys. It's going to be really sad to see one of them lose. I've personally got Ilia Topuria by KO relatively early in the fight. I don't see it going past round 3. And then another fight that got announced, but we're not too, crazy about it. Pantoja Kai Kara France. Now, I wasn't sure if this fight was actually going to be on that card, but it is. And we get, another title fight. Is this a, oh my god, I'm so excited? No. Is Pantoja going to get another title defense? Yeah. So, yeah. Moving on. Now, I do want to talk about something. We already talked about the Dricus fight. Before I go, I want to talk about one other thing, because they released the full bout order in terms of, top fights. And I have a few things to say to the UFC. What the fuck is this? International Fight Week. And we get, the main event is amazing. Co-main event, whatever, we get a title fight. But Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov in the feature fight? Sorry, I'm watching the Pacer game. They're about to go to the finals, or the Eastern Conference Finals, excuse me. Why is that the feature fight? Paulo Costa's a name, I get it. 12-14. Look at the rankings beside them. This is going to be a good fight, and it's going to be a fun fight. That should be the main card opener. Beneil Dariush, Renato Moicano, that belongs a spot on the main card. I thought they were going to do Dariush versus Rufi, and I thought they were just going to completely screw over Beneil Dariush. But no, they rebooked the Moicano fight, and that's the best fight for Beneil Dariush, especially now Moicano coming off a loss. His momentum isn't as high, and he's still, he's coming back, somewhat soon in June. So we'll see how this fight goes. I have Renato Moicano, and in the middleweight fight, I would say Paulo Costa gets this one done. Kopylov can gas out really quick. And Costa can too, but Costa's going to go later, and he's going to have more things for you later in the fight than Kopylov will. And I think he's just a little more dynamic. They're both dynamic fighters, but I think that Paulo's better on the feet and has more power, and I think he'll beat Roman Kopylov. Now, let's talk about the main card opener. What the fuck is that? Are we being serious? Jonata Deniz versus Justin Tafa on the main card of... Justin Tafa is coming off a 30-second KO against Talashin Teixeira in the first round after being the feature fight on a pay-per-view. He then moves down, well, he's only 6-5. Let's move him down to the main, the main card opener of International Fight Week. 312 is a shitty pay-per-view. You got to get your Australians on there, I get it. And you want the Samoans, the big fat guys with tattoos, who will get an occasional knockout. This is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. The loser of this fight could get cut. Why is Jonata Deniz always getting these high-up spots on cards as well? Deniz was 1-0, and he immediately started getting these big fights up cards. He's now on the main card opener. He just got absolutely mauled by Marcin Tybura. Why is he getting the Justin Tafa on the main card of a pay-per-view? And no one's talking about this in the comments. I know you really can't see, and I'm not going to move it, but I'm looking at the comments right now. No one is talking about it. Everyone's talking about the main event, right? Rightfully so. Everyone's saying John Jones should get stripped, as he should. And Charles Oliveira gifts and all that stuff. But no one's talking about how Jonata Deniz versus Justin Tafa is on the main card of a pay-per-view in International Fight Week. No Imavov, no Baralho. You couldn't even get Kobe fucking Covington on this card. We got Brandon Royval versus Manel Kape. Number 1 versus number 6, mind you, in one of the more entertaining divisions in the UFC. And this is on the prelims below Jonata Deniz versus Justin Tafa. Are we being fucking serious? I hate to complain in a video with such great news, but this is infuriating. I'm not going to have interest in this fight. Brandon Royval versus Manel Kape. This is how it should be. Ilya, then Alexandre Pantoja, then the Royval versus Kape fight, or Dariush versus Moicano. The other one is the second spot on the pay-per-view. Paulo Costa, Roman Kopylov, the main card opener. Hermanson headlining the prelims. Jonata Deniz versus Justin Tafa. Send him to fucking PFL. Why are we seeing this fight on the main card of International Fight Week? It's sad. That's it. I mean, that's all I've got about that shit. Now, I'm excited. Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira is going down. We kind of knew it was. It's going down, though. It's official. And we get the build-up now. And I'm so excited to see what Ilia Topuria can do against Charles Oliveira at a new weight class. And see if we're going to get a double championship reign with Ilia Topuria, where he starts to already cement his legacy among the top. He'll be one of the, he'll be another double champ on that list. Defends his belt a few times. Has a favorable matchup at 170. I wonder. He shouldn't, but you never know. Now, the most concerning matchup for Ilia Topuria at lightweight is not Charles Oliveira. It is Arman Tsarukyan. Islam is officially moving up and never coming back to lightweight. But Arman Tsarukyan is definitely the hardest matchup for Ilia Topuria, and that is going to be a fight that is going to be really fucking close and really good. So, I'm intrigued. I'm excited. Ilia Topuria, let's ignore what the main card opener is. Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira, headlining International Fight Week. Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev, headlining a Chicago pay-per-view in mid-August. Now, this probably means that we are not going to get a Perth pay-per-view. I think I already said that the JDM fight is really going to be in Abu Dhabi, which is pretty lame, considering JDM is the champ and should get the Perth card with Volk Evloev. But we'll see. Maybe they adjust it. Maybe they move that card to September. We get 2 pay-per-views in September. Maybe they move it to October and we get it in October. We'll see. It could still happen in Perth. But it is officially happening. And if they stick with their current pay-per-view schedule, my guess is that it'll be in Abu Dhabi in October. Which will still be great. But I think JDM wants to be quicker than that. And I think a September card, put it 2 weeks after the international, or the 2 weeks after, or a week, like, there's the Guadalajara card in mid-September, so I don't think, my guess is that they're going to do 2 cards in October, and that card will either be Salt Lake City, or it could be Perth, if they decide to move it. I hope they do, and then we can get Volk versus Evloev, and JDM versus Islam in October. Book it. Now, I do wonder what's going to be under this fight. My guess is they'll want to get Imavov in there around this time. They'll also want to get Kyle Barajo in there by this time. So I wouldn't be surprised if those guys are on this card, honestly, fighting each other. I could also see, yeah, honestly, that's actually it. I could probably see that actually happening. And I think they might be trying to set up if, Imavov and Kaio fight in France or something in late September. And then RDR's fighting a few weeks before this. If Dricus gets a win, they could be setting up a Dricus versus RDR fight because it's been clearly very hyped up if RDR beats Whitaker. And they could be looking for, for that, maybe to headline a South Africa card. So I'm hoping this is Dricus' last defense because he's going to win. In a country that's not named South Africa, his next defense should absolutely be in South Africa. In the beginning of the year when they when they don't have the ESPN contract, that completely ruins their mobility in terms of where they can go for different pay-per-views, why they can't go to Spain, why they can't go to South Africa, because they give all those daytime spots to fucking Abu Dhabi and not even London. So whatever. Yeah. That's all I have. I'm done. Awesome news. Fucking awesome. All I have to say. Try to get this out quick. Appreciate you guys watching. Bye.